New Orleans, 1920. Shadows of mysterious events were spreading in the dark streets of the city. In one of the abandoned houses lived old Thomas, who was famous for his strange and creepy experiments. He was known for his extensive medical knowledge and used it for dark purposes. One day, a group of young medical students, John, Emily, and Michael, found out about Thomas' mysterious research and decided to go to his house to find out more about his dark secrets. They decided that this could be a fascinating study for their educational project. Under cover of the night, they got close to Thomas' house. The old house looked abandoned and creepy, as if it was waiting for its victims. They rushed in, but immediately felt that they were not in charge here. In the darkness they heard rustling and soft footsteps. Something was sliding on the floor. They sensed the presence of something invisible, but threatening. Soon, they heard an ominous laugh. Their hearts skipped a beat from fear. John, Emily and Michael squeezed each other's hands, feeling the fear that penetrated every cell of their body. Their flashlights barely made their way through the gloom that engulfed the old house. The rustling and whispering seemed so loud that it was as if someone was watching them from the shadows. They decided to continue their research and entered Thomas' abandoned laboratory. It was even worse here. The walls were littered with ominous symbols and blood. Forgotten instruments for experiments lay on the floor. The spirit of the past gripped them more strongly, but curiosity ruled out fear. Suddenly, in the corner of the room, they noticed a door that seemed somehow special. She radiated an incomprehensible energy, and a faint light emanated from her. They had never seen anything like this before. Mixed feelings gripped the young students. On one side is the desire to learn more about Thomas and his research. On the other is the fear of what lies behind this door. They gathered their courage and decided to open it. Behind the door was a secret laboratory that seemed to be something from another world. There were experiments with unknown substances, forbidden and dangerous studies. They found Thomas's notes, which told about his desire to create something completely unique and alive. Suddenly, a figure appeared out of the darkness, which seemed to draw them into its presence. It was Thomas, his face distorted by thirst for knowledge and madness. He was alive despite his old age. "You found my secret," he whispered with a sinister smile. "Now you have to pay the price." The young students were paralyzed with fear, unable to move. Thomas began to recite strange spells. Their bodies were engulfed by a vile fire. They realized that they had become part of his dangerous experiments that would not lead to good. John, Emily, and Michael continued to squeeze each other's hands, their hearts beating so loudly that they seemed to hear their own pulsations. A terrifying picture appeared before them. The walls of the laboratory were profusely stained with blood, and scattered remains of animals and even human bodies lay on the floor. Unknown entities were locked in cages. Their screams penetrated the soul and caused the skin to be covered with goosebumps of horror. Fear seized each of the students, but mixed feelings of curiosity and courage pushed them to move forward. They came across Thomas's diaries, where details about his terrible experiments were recorded. The old man sought to gain immortality and incredible knowledge, not stopping before the most vile and forbidden methods. In the middle of the laboratory, the hands of the young students began to crack from the insane pain. They felt blood trickling down their fingers. They tried to get out of this nightmare, but it was useless. Their bodies became just tools for the realization of other people's dark plans. Thomas was ruthless. He paid no attention to the suffering of his victims, his face distorted with joy at the success of his dangerous experiments. The world around them began to collapse, as if being subjected to a powerful force of darkness. Their torments lasted for eternity, and their souls were captivated by gloomy fears. They became a part of this forgotten horror, deprived of hope for salvation. John, Emily, and Michael continued to grip each other's hands painfully, their skin cracking with tension, but the pain of fear prevailed over the physical pain. An even more terrifying picture opened up before them. The walls of the laboratory were covered with blood, as if it came to life and captured everything around. Scattered remains of animals and even human bodies lay on the floor. Their blood-drenched faces seemed gigantic masks of horror. Unknown entities trapped in cages exuded inhuman screams and moans that penetrated to the very depths of the soul, making them tremble with horror. These were creatures that were created from the dark essence that Thomas mined for his dark experiments. Fear seized each of the students, but the mixed feelings of curiosity and courage continued to push them to new discoveries. They found Thomas's diaries, which described the creepy and crazy experiments of the old man. The desire for immortality and unlimited knowledge forced him not to stop before the most vile and forbidden methods. In the middle of the laboratory, they found a strange device that radiated repulsive energy. It pulsed to the beat of their heartbeat, as if calling them to join the gloomy dance of death. Dark forces hovered around the device, as if they wanted to free themselves and plunge the world into darkness forever. They realized that this device was key to Thomas' sinister plans, and its power could destroy everything around. But fear and curiosity were stronger, and they decided to take a chance and study it closer. Then, suddenly, darkness surrounded them, and the world around them was distorted beyond recognition. They found themselves in an empty space that seemed to engulf their consciousness. Thomas's unsteady voice penetrated their minds. He turned to nameless forces to gain their power. They became puppets in his gloomy symphony, performing a dark symphony of death and destruction. The hands of the young students continued to crack. Thank you for watching up to this point. Good luck and see you to new stories. I will be glad if you support my channel.